welcome to our first season recap. I will be the host of this video, Crimson Maroon.
I am, as always, a geeky writer.
I'm Sinister Boy.
And I'm Sprinks.
And I thought it would be cool to do a little season recap and get our headspace on how everything went. So I'll ask a very simple question first. How do you think our first season went? And I'll go with writer.
You know what? I for our first season, it was a bit of a rocky start. A lot of chaos behind the scenes, for sure. As for, the movies that we saw, they were all fairly mediocre to bad, except for Men, which is pretty sad, I guess.
Shocker to be sure. I didn't know what to expect with that movie.
But yeah, no. For season one, I was nice. I feel like we're a young podcast, so we're just finding our identity still, and that's what this felt like, and that's kind of what I expected to feel like. There was a lot of growing pains, and I think that's a good thing in this case, because I think we're going to come out better for it next season. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler, there's another season. We're not done here.
We're too narcissistic for that.
Yeah, we're not dropping this. We need to hear ourselves more. Sinister, what do you think?
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. There's definitely a lot of rocky stuff behind the scenes that thankfully the audience will be spared of for a long time, hopefully. But yeah, I think by the end of it, we've kind of found more of a flow. I think we're still not quite where we need to be yet, but I think we're definitely making progress, and hopefully the audience likes it.
Fingers crossed, because as of right now, we have everything filmed ahead, and we don't know what you guys think yet. So, hopefully it's good. And Sprinks.
I think that this first season was fairly went well. I do agree. Of course, there were some rocky things here and there. I do. Well, season one compiled of movies and a show that were relatively new to kind of hopefully get the ball rolling, which possibly could change. Who knows? But yeah, I think it went well. I think it had very good variation on what we did choose for this season.
Yeah, just
Yeah, we got a freaking sci-fi action with Strange. We got whatever the heck Men was. Freaking
It was horror
wizards
sci-fi.
and
It was horror sci-fi.
horror sci-fi.
for sci-fi.
That's right, sci-fi.
Yeah.
Yes.
I guess Lightyear would be Space Odyssey, kinda.
Sci-fi, yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, space sci-fi.
An animated movie. It's the only one we did. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And then Dominion was Dominion sci-fi?
It was animated. It was an animated movie.
Yeah.
There was cartoons there.
Yeah,
Fake dinosaurs.
it's animated, and I think partly adventure, I guess.
Action thriller? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Action fantasy.
Maybe it's not thriller, but there's action there.
Yeah.
What I'm seeing is we need more romance.
Oh, more romance. My favorite.
Romance.
Oh, don't worry, I've got ideas, and I'm sure you do too.
Oh, we got so many genres to choose from.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we have a lot of content to choose
there's
from.
Only there's only like 20 movies, right? I mean, they can't do anything.
Oh yeah, we only have
Yeah.
Star Wars, Jurassic Park, Indiana Jones, Star Trek. Just pretty much every big franchise. That's all we got. Fast and Furious.
Pixar.
Yeah, my favorite franchise, Pixar.
We got bootleg movies. We've got parody movies. We got a lot of stuff. Don't worry about it.
All right, a little bit, I guess, tougher question. Well, who wants to start off the tough question?
All right.
Oh, well, all right.
We went to the highest energy.
Yeah.
This will give you Sinister and actually, I got to give my opinion. I think the season went well. All right, so Springs, your question.
Oh yeah, don't forget about that.
Nice. Good.
Yes.
Good.
Whew, wow, dodged both there. All right.
I did. All right, Springs. What is your favorite scene across everything we saw this season?
My favorite scene?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, that's there's a lot of scenes.
Yeah, you wanted this.
Um,
This was
Yeah,
yours.
you know what? I'm gonna go with the first thing that popped in my head. The
Okay.
first scene that pops in my head is the scene from Men when she's creating the song in the tunnel.
Pretty good choice.
That, yes.
Nice.
I think that's my favorite scene because it was very imaginative. It was eerie. It's also creative to create the music or a piece of the music for the film in the film itself. So that's
Yeah.
my choice.
It's a good choice. That was a runner up to one of the scenes that I was thinking about too. So,
And no one gets to copy my answer.
well.
Darn.
All right.
Oh
Okay.
No
shoot.
easy answer for me. All right. Well, Ryder, you sound like you already have one in mind, so you're up next.
Yeah, it was pretty much between two. And I'm gonna give a shout out to close second one though, which is the Doctor Strange multiverse hopping sequence. Definitely a lot of good imagery. But my favorite scene, or my favorite shot, I guess, is also from Men, and it's actually the shot of her underneath the stars near the end, where it kind of just shows the universe above her. I'm a huge space nerd, shocker. So that scene, just that one shot encompassed, I think, all the wonder and the horror that the world and the universe can represent. And for me, it was very simple, but it was also very, very powerful.
So even if Sprinks hadn't brought up the tunnel part, that still would have beaten that out too.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. The tunnel
Real-
part
real
was
power behind it for you.
yeah. The tunnel part was the third one. So that was just beneath Doctor Strange's multiverse hopping scene for me. But yeah, those. I guess those are my top three. Sorry.
Well,
Yeah.
that works. Unless one of those were Sinisters, then that's a little unlucky. Sinister, you got one?
Yeah, I have yeah, I have one. I probably, and this is probably one. I probably it probably would be a scene from Men, but because I feel like that's getting a little bit too much credit, so got to go against the flow on that one. I'll say the Scarlet Witch takeover of the other version of her from.
Oh, that's a good
Multiverse.
choice. That's a good choice.
Mainly just because I'm a Sam Raimi fanboy, and that was definitely classic Sam Raimi style. So
Yeah.
The scene where the picture frames
Yeah.
moving.
Yeah.
Okay.
The teacup turns
The
to ocean water.
teacup.
Yeah. No, I'm not even a Sam.
Very fake-looking peas in that plate moving.
yes,
Yeah. I'm not a Sam Raimi fan, and that scene also was really good. So good choice.
If Men wasn't brought up so much, what would have been your Men?
it's not a really good scene, but it's one that I like the most. The green guy following her around outside the house.
Oh, like
Because
Oh,
it
she
was-
was phone call.
like
Just-
while
just
during the
'cause
phone
it
call, while
was
she's
just-
yeah.
Yeah, just because it was so like tonally inconsistent that it was funny to me, but it would definitely scare me if I was actually in a situation. But I like that little tonal inconsistency.
Yeah.
That leaves you.
I guess I just need to do a Jurassic World one, which is obviously Owen choking out the Dilophosaurus. This is it, of course. My favorite scene is in Doctor Strange, which is it's very short, but it really stuck with my mind. Was when Scarlet Witch whispered into the Kamatosh guy who broke the barrier and told him to run. It just looked so good. I loved it. It was eerie. There was no sound except run.
Yeah, it was an excellent choice to cut all the other audio for that scene because it was otherwise a very eerie sequence.
Yeah, it felt weird that it looked like she floated behind him and her hair was flowing while his wasn't. Kind of frozen in time almost. Oh.
Uncanny.
Yes. Worked for me. Sorry, Jurassic World and Obi-Wan, you got nothing apparently on us.
I mean, a lot of
And
funny
Lightyear.
stuff.
a lot of disappointment. So
No, we didn't watch
Forgot
that.
about Lightyear.
yeah, and so did the audiences that went to the theater. So
Let me just run through my head real quick. Sonic's doing the white noise. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honorable mention.
What about the robot guy giving directions?
I'm gonna go with Spacewalk.
What was the name, Sprinks? You had it written down.
Uh,
Roger or something?
Derby?
Darby.
No, Darby was the
What's
bomb
Derek?
expert lady.
Derek.
Derek. Okay.
Derek.
Our favorite robot companion, Derek.
Second favorite.
That's right. Socks was better. Whew. All right. Well, this next one, I guess I'll start on myself, just to switch it up a little bit. Favorite character across everything we just saw this season?
I mean, you're gonna get a lot of the same answer.
Fuck.
Sorry.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You
I think.
so.
I think I might be wrong.
Well, my answer is going to be, drumroll while I think of it right now. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Not Alan Grant.
Aw, damn.
Oh, wow,
No.
not
No, it's
Alan
not
Grant.
Alan Grant. Alan Grant got ruined.
Not
It's
ruined.
probably. Does it pain me to say that it's Socks? I'm trying to.
I think we're all
trying to
gonna say
think.
that.
I mean, ugh. Anyone in Obi-Wan? No. Shoot. Yeah, I'm gonna say Socks. Socks is my favorite character out of everything. He was just good. He wasn't just a product. He was a character. That's what was really nice.
It's a rare combo.
And he was funny. It wasn't just fake funny like a
Yeah.
lot of the Marvel stuff going on lately, but it was truly funny.
I mean, I think we touched on it, but because especially Star Wars lately, every incarnation has to have like a toy that's profitable, basically.
Yeah, they have to have
Mhm.
a droid or something. with
Yeah, a
him.
droid.
A little alien.
I think Socks is kind of like the hearkening, like he's that cute, but he has like character like R2D2 or C3PO, where they're not just side characters. They're actually they're side characters, but you know what I'm saying. Like they don't they're not just to sell toys. It's
Actually,
like
they add to
yeah.
the story.
I liked
Yeah.
Socks more than Lola, the floating droid from with Leia.
They didn't really do
even though
anything. They thought it was great.
Socks can't remember equations and stuff.
Well, everybody in
Has their
everything
flaws.
we watch had problems.
Yeah, no, I know. I
Yeah.
understand. No, I agree.
Yeah,
Socks
maybe,
is infinitely better than Lola. I'm just poking fun.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember the main character in Men? Her name? I think she was the only one that was pretty consistent.
That's really telling, isn't it?
Well, it wasn't brought up that much because it was mostly revolving around herself.
Harper.
Yes.
Harper Marlowe.
But yeah, all right. Who wants to go next?
Point.
Sinister, you're up.
Okay. I am gonna go. You know what? You probably runner-up. I'm gonna go with my runner-up because I think
Okay.
we're all just gonna immediately go for Socks, and that's not really being fair to all the movies we've picked. I am gonna go with. I'm gonna go with Harper. You know what?
Okay, well, good choice.
'Cause I thought
Solid
I
choice.
thought it, yeah.
I thought it was going
I,
to be Pizza Papa.
Pizza
you
Papa.
know. We can only do two obscure things. I like Pizza Papa, but he's not. He is Pizza Papa. He's not like He doesn't do anything other than be Pizza Papa. That's my caveat here.
That's fair.
He
Very
he
surface level
wouldn't.
character.
Yeah, I mean, well, I love him. He made Strange Doctor Strange for me, but you could not have him in it and it would still be the same movie. So he's not doesn't fit. But yeah, let's say Harper because I thought they explored a lot of like interesting psychological stuff there that I don't really feel like happens a lot in movies anymore. And I thought they did it in a way that both felt like you could relate to like the lack of power and also feel empowered because it was shown. So that's where I want to go with that.
I mean, the only thing I can think of in comparison to where I got a similar experience has just been anime or like an anime movie recently.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I'd agree.
Sprinks.
Well, Socks is pretty good. But
Socks
I'm
is
thinking
pretty
of
funny.
I'm gonna go with an answer. The first answer that came to my head. I mean, I have a couple of thoughts. I like Loaderbot and Obi-Wan. I liked Jeffrey and Men. But the first answer that popped in my head was Sinister Strange from Multiverse of Madness.
oh,
I thought that was. I think that was my favorite Strange shown in that movie. And I think the acting that Benedict did to give it that sinister undertone to all his wordings and like this corrupt thought process of like what to do next while having his conversation with normal Strange. I just thought that was all very cool.
Oh yeah, normal Strange, because no other Strange should be normal.
yeah.
Okay, Strange. Oh God, Strange 616.
There you go.
Bleh.
616. I already talked about this.
Yes, you
Yeah,
did.
we did a workaround, so it
It's
makes
the
sense.
MCU's 616.
Yes.
There you go.
It's freaking. Was it Cat? No, it's not Kathy. What the heck was her name?
Agatha.
Kathy Bates.
Oh,
Agatha.
everything was Aga's fault.
Strange's girl that he didn't get.
Oh,
Christy.
Christine. Yeah, that's just her own headcanon. So you're fine. All right. And Ryder. Yeah.
Well,
I guess it could be runner-up if yours has already been taken.
shout outs to Harper and Socks, obviously. My the first character that popped into my mind actually was probably Hawthorne from Lightyear.
Oh,
Um,
old Hawthorne or
old
Izzy
one.
Hawthorne?
Old one.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
gotta clarify. Because Izzy was problematic. But his original partner Hawthorne, I thought there was a lot of potential there to kind of expand on their relationship, and we don't, but it does try to service the film in its own way. So I think I liked Hawthorne as a character and as a writer's tool. As a concept, I think that's kind of where I went immediately from my head. Was that one?
All right. Not one I was expecting,
Yeah.
which I guess is a good thing. All right. What do I want to subject you guys with next? All right. I got it.
Wahaha.
biggest
Yes.
kiss.
Muhaha. Yeah, favorite kiss. No, I guess, because I think this one's going to be the longest one for this individual.
Mhm.
Sprinks will answer this first.
Oh boy.
Whose rating and for what surprised you the most?
Uh-oh.
Okay. Well, man, I know why you chose me first. Ryder,
Yeah, what's up, buddy?
after everything you said of reasoning for Doctor Strange, you objectively gave it a 1. And
By the
at
standards
time,
of the
that
writing?
was like,
Yes.
yeah, and that was like our first recording, which was already a lengthy recording, so I didn't really want to get into a scuffle there about it. But man, I got a little bit of time now. A 1, lowest rating you could possibly give it.
Absolutely.
I know writing encompasses all in your perspective, and I know writing is the blanket that goes
Mhm.
over it all. But you said Benedict's acting was good. You said the music was good. There were some scenes you liked, and I feel like for a 1, it's like the absolute worst you could get, which it is because that's the lowest our rating goes.
Yeah.
That you don't think they did anything correctly? I mean, you didn't, not even a 2 or a 1.5. You didn't think they did anything correctly to structure out the plot from one scene to the next for any combination of scenes.
That would be correct, because there's something wrong with each scene.
Wow.
Yeah. I like I said,
Shots all around.
I mean, I having rewatched the movie, having seen other people review the movie now, I feel more affirmed in my choice of giving it a 1 out of 10. The writing is abysmal, and as I said, my objective scale is purely on writing. Unless the visuals are absolutely groundbreaking, it needs to push the medium forward. And that's the only time other things can break in to that.
So the only exception is visuals, not like
No.
acting.
I
or
mean, no.
anything?
Like I said, acting can make it in, but like I said, it needs to be groundbreaking. Like I have to feel like boundaries have been pushed. Like
Otherwise, that just sprinkles on your subjective.
yes,
Okay.
which is why my subjective is still a 5 out of 10. Because like I said, I do think it's one of the worst MCU movies out there, by far and away, in terms of writing. However, I would still much rather watch this film than say Iron Man 3 or Captain Marvel, which I think are better written than this film. But I find this movie far more entertaining than those two.
Gotcha. And that's where my question stands. So,
Okay.
Okay.
I
Did not
mean,
go as long as I thought.
yeah. I mean, like if you want me to flesh my opinion out more, just ask specifics. You know.
no, you answered enough for me saying that your objective is essentially just writing.
Yes. That. So I guess this is a good point to clarify, just for going into the future as well. If my objective rating is vastly different from everyone else's, it's purely because I am looking at it from a writing perspective only. And if the film does something absolutely groundbreaking in terms of acting, the score, or anything else, those unless those are like I said, pushing the boundary, groundbreaking, those are going to be sprinkled into subjective for me.
Okay.
Interesting.
I'm sure this was already all touched on in session 0, but
probably
I
not.
just-
I don't know if it was. Yeah.
I mean,
maybe
like I said,
not full length, but
I mean, to be fair, having recently re-listened to session 0, like I said, I didn't script anything out for myself because I was the one asking the question. So I definitely could have been formatting what my scale was better. But
Well, this is the time if you want, I guess.
Hey,
Yeah.
I
mean,
guess I have one thing. I don't know.
Sure. Go ahead.
Or just to flesh that out just a little bit. If
Okay.
it goes into a big thing, I apologize. I don't want to,
What's
No,
the
it's-
point of this?
Well, I know, but I don't want this question to go through like one person and then we end it. That would be
Yeah.
really kind of stupid. But so I read a quote recently that kind of resonated with me, and I'm just curious to get your kind of take on it because it's kind of what you just said kind of connected to my brain or whatever. There's a famous director, Nicholas Ray. He did Rebel Without a Cause and a bunch of those.
yes.
Early.
Yeah.
Yes. And he had this quote that I thought was very interesting because it kind of, sort of, I guess, ricochets off you a little bit. He said, actually, hold on, let me bring it up real quick so I can get it,
Yeah, get it right.
Fool
Yeah.
myself.
Don't want to misquote here.
Yeah.
Professionals.
It's Nicholas Ray.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on, let me.
Well, while you're pulling up, I guess I'll let me know when you got it, and I can go off for a bit. All right.
I got it. He said, if it were all in the script, why make the film? Which, that's really short, but I guess I'll flesh it out a little bit. And what he's saying is, if it was all in the script, you would basically just have a novel. So there'd be like, you'd have a novel, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then why would you, if everything that was in there was in the script and you made it into a novel, there'd be no purpose of making the film because you wouldn't need any, fleshing out. You wouldn't need any, visuals or music or anything.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm guessing in that way, if a movie was written like perfectly well and or like a script was written perfectly, couldn't you argue that you wouldn't need the film because it would stand on its own merits and you wouldn't need the film? But then also you could say that a maybe not so good or not, quite, or, decent script could be expounded upon and made better by the fact of getting done and having more things on top of it because you can't see it all just in the script itself.
I'm gonna say yes, and I'm sorry. Let me clarify my yes here. I don't want to necessarily. Okay, so I don't think a film is just script, as
Mhm.
in you can accomplish writing with just characters acting and shots alone. So, like, if a character's quiet and suddenly looking around their scene nervously, you already understand something about that character, even though it's not necessarily, there's no dialogue in the script at this point. And you're actually showing then rather than telling. So, what my focus is not necessarily, it's not really like a tell don't show. It's a bit of both. Like you need to have the best of both worlds in order to, I think, make a really really good movie. But that being said, I still affirm that the script is the story and thus the foundation of whatever you're working on. Because as the technical aspects of whatever you're filming at the time will age. You and I got into this over Star Wars for about half an hour.
Yeah.
So, whatever your technicalities and stuff, I will age. So the shots will age, the music can age, the techniques can age, the actors will age, everything that was used technically to make the film will age. What will be eternal is that script, the writing, the story that is told. And I'm not devaluing all that other everything else. It's just all that other stuff is going to be pushed forward, like because CGI is going to constantly get better. We discussed how James Earl Jones is not voicing Darth Vader, and while the AI is not perfect, it's still getting the voice very very close. So I guess what I would say in direct answer to your question is the script is not everything, but it is still the most important foundation when trying to craft, I think, anything that attempts to tell a story. So that would include film, writing, TV shows, plays, that sort of thing.
Okay.
All right. Well, good on.
Well, I think it was still from my one answer, so
Yes.
Yeah.
the three of you still
That's
go.
why I was gonna hop to the next. So, Ryder, what was your surprise rating on something from someone?
Well, it wasn't really a surprise, but this shouldn't. I mean, it wasn't a surprise because I know how Springs is. I know he's a Pixar guy, but
Man.
you gave Lightyear an 8 out of 10.
Yeah.
And-
That was
On which scale though? That's what.
He gave it on both his objective
He gave it
and
on
subjective.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, like I see, like if it was, like the subjective one made sense to me, but the objective one did not at all. And I guess I am gonna push back here on a few of your answers, but I am curious. I want you to flush that out a little more.
okay. Well, I guess the first thing going in is no, I did not give it a 10. So I differenced it between a 10, a 9, to an 8. So that's me backpedaling a little, I understand, but that's just to just keep in mind.
Okay, no, no worries. I wasn't gonna like. I'm not like.
Fight!
We're trying to have an artistic talk here, Crimson.
Oh darn! This question's getting ruined here.
Yeah, no. I mean, like, I will push back if he presents something for me to push back on, I suppose. So.
I guess I'll start with characters.
I
I liked most. I'll say this. I liked most of the characters, but I did not think there was a character necessarily out of place. I think if Izzy was by herself, I don't think it would have been as strong as with her ragtag group of the characters that didn't necessarily matter. But I think that makes it stronger and helps not only her character that she's with these other people, but also to help Buzz see that they're quote unquote a group. I think Socks bounces jokes left and right off of everyone. I think Commander Burnside is a better character because of his overtaking of Hawthorne. I think Zurg is good because of his mentality change from Burnside and the current Buzz. I just think all the characters play off of each other.
okay.
Um,
I guess.
I think
If I might interject, I guess I have my I guess my first sort of pushback in that, at least with the Izzy and the gang, you said that you liked them. I guess my follow up would be: is that personal or objective that they're good characters?
I did not mean to make it sound like they were good characters. I meant to mean that they are the reason why. Okay, so if Izzy was by herself, just kind of a lone strander to tag along with Buzz, I think that would have made her worse. I think Buzz would have like pushed her aside more. I think she could have been lost. I think it would have just felt like the beginning rookie because the rookie was by himself kind of feel.
Mm-hmm.
So by putting her with this other group of was it Darby and Taika Waititi, I forget the guy's name.
We never said his
And I'm
name.
not even
No,
I'm
it's
not
okay.
even counting Derek.
There's Taika Waititi.
But putting it as a group, Buzz saw that they got along, and it's kind of like if you're taking one of us, you're taking all of us kind of deal. So, and they all do have their different personalities. They're not all carbon copies. So I think they all play off of each other, which kind of pushes Buzz's buttons a bit. That is a pun intended. I actually did say that.
Okay. I guess I understand what you're saying in that sense. They have what he doesn't, which is
good character.
they have what he doesn't, in that they're I guess he has that they have the connection with one another, which Buzz doesn't have a connection outside of socks.
Yeah, I'll say I don't think they're good characters, but I think the movie would be worse without them.
Okay.
Well, couldn't you have just replaced them with better characters then?
Yes, but then I think Izzy would have made Izzy worse. If one of her side characters was way better than her, no one would care about her.
Well, they don't have to be better than Izzy. They just have to not suck.
Yeah.
Which is what Taika Waititi's character was.
Well, I mean, look,
the two of them
pretty
suck.
much.
Maybe making the two of them suck made Izzy stand out more.
Yeah, I mean, they
You didn't
have
see
to
Buzz
be.
off of the other two.
I mean, there's a certain level of suck. There's Taika Waititi's characters, and then there's like Mater from Cars. He's a good balance of a stupid character.
until Cars 2.
Well, yeah, but that's it. Cars. There's a certain balance. Your character doesn't have to be a bag of rocks. There could be something else in that bag.
Oh, they did have that though. I mean, you can't argue.
Yeah, other than the pen and the sandwich in that
I'm
bag.
just saying it's there though. I'm just saying. There is a reason for them to be there. It's not great, but it's there.
Thank you for the defense, Sinister.
I'm just because I know where you're coming from. Where technically, like the impetus for them is they have to be ragtag. I'll give that they go a little bit too far and make them just almost incompetent. But I think for the most part, it's fine. Like it could be better. I'm not gonna say like it's great as it is, but like it's not something where it's like, man, this movie can't come out. These guys are awful. We have to like go into debt like fixing this issue. I don't think it's that bad, but if they had more time or they had done it differently, it would have been better. That's what I'll say.
Yeah.
But this is just my reasoning of why I don't think it's an 8.
I mean, I'm
don't
not
think
saying it's an
the
8,
movie shouldn't come out because they weren't good characters.
Well, right now I'm just on characters.
Yeah. Well, like I said, characters is
No, we'll get to the rest of this.
yeah.
Don't worry.
Eventually, yes. Like the characters are like typically my wheelhouse because that to me is half my scale almost when it comes to writing. I think your world building can be a mess and your plot can be a mess, but your characters can pull your story through. And I think that's to me is why I don't. That's why Lightyear, like I said, it wasn't a good film. Like the characters don't uphold it, and I know we went kind of back and forth on this over the course of that review. So I guess so you acknowledge that they're not well constructed characters, but you like the concept, I guess, of the ragtag group showing Buzz Lightyear the idea of human connection since he hasn't had it, I guess. Or he's lost it.
Yes.
Okay. Now, my follow-up question to that is because that is a concept alone, and it's only a concept, why is it still an 8?
Because of all the other things that go into the aspect of it. There's I guess the easiest thing to go with is Score by Michael Giacchino. I think it was very fitting. Buzz's theme was nice. I think the The Dangerous theme was good. I like how they didn't necessarily reuse any songs already previously for Buzz Lightyear the toy or in Toy Story. It was all original. I like that. I liked the pacing of the movie. I think the slow parts were fine. I don't think they dragged out. I think the action scenes were a good enough time. I think it was a good roller coaster of danger to calm to danger to calm, back and forth. So I thought that was good. I liked the angles that they decided to go. Being an animated movie, camera angles can be a bit different in processing, but
Yeah,
I
they
still
can get
like
creative
it.
for sure.
Yeah, the first thing that comes to mind with camera angles would be the chase scene where they were running from the Zergbots,
Mm-hmm.
and it was showing the outside atmosphere of the ship going by and the Zergbots being attacked, and then also the inside of like them trying to construct weapons and buzz at the pilot. So just kind of that back and forth look, I like that. Lighting is fine. There was nothing jarring with lighting. I wasn't blinded. I wasn't like confused, like why there's no shadows somewhere or something. Like the whole cone scene, I think all the shadowings bounced off of that. Fine. So all of that to me is like good things that didn't necessarily hit it bad. Like there's no bad lighting. I saw no real jarring camera movement. I saw that was bad. There was no music that didn't seem, not fitting. And so all those, as well as combined with the characters and the story itself and get pacing. So, I take it all into account in my rating, and for objective, it's what they created to be shown. So they created this is their choice to be shown, and off of what I just listed, I think most of those choices were more on the positive, good for me than on the negative.
Okay. I have.
How do you value things? Is lighting the same as writing?
Can be, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So I guess I have one last follow-up question, and I'm going to pull something out of the archives for this one. Why objectively is Lightyear better than Arcane to you?
Oh, I don't know if we should discuss
This
that.
is
No.
it's
Well,
it's there. It's done. You're
don't-
answering.
I don't recall giving Arcane an objective and subjective score. I think I just gave it one score entirely.
I believe you gave it a 7.
Yeah, it was a 6.
I gave it a
6.
generous.
Oh.
I think I gave it a 6.
Oh boy.
Of a combination score.
All right. I'm not, like I said, you can, I like I said, I know you would probably enjoy Lightyear more than Arcane, just because of what you prefer, I guess, from your stories. But
Yeah, I did not separate those scorings. I think the main thing for that is Arcane's a show and this was a movie.
so you hold.
How would those elements be different in your rating system? Because they all have lighting, writing, all those
Because
elements you've talked
because the question for Arcane was overall, not individual. So the overall of what was it, 9 episodes?
Yeah.
The overall of 9 episodes, what did I give it with a combined objective and subjective rating, which is my answer of 6.
Okay. I guess then my question shifts to what would you give Arcane objectively? Because
Objectively?
I personally from where I'm sitting, I do think Arcane does everything that Lightyear does, but
Yeah,
better.
I think I might. I'd say like a 7.5 or an 8.
So still
Almost on par with
lower.
Lightyear. Yeah.
Okay, so still either on par or lower. All right.
Yeah. Say objectively.
Okay.
Well, anyone
I've
follow
only
us
seen
with that?
Arcane.
No, like I said, like
I've only seen Arcane once. So
yeah. No, like I said, I'm not gonna push you too much on that because I know you haven't rewatched Arcane. I was just curious because like I said, for me, obviously, I don't hold writing and score in equivalency, or sorry, like lighting and writing in equivalency, because, I mean, then this goes back to what I said in answer to Sinister's question, which is, like the technical aspects of a film will age. Like in Pixar's movies in 10 years are going to look better than this. And
True.
and
Around in 10 years.
if they're around, we'll fucking see. So I guess I'm curious. I'm gonna actually now ask you Sinister's question, which is for you. Well, sorry, I'm gonna rephrase his question a little bit.
Yeah, you're gonna.
If okay, I gotta think about how I'm gonna ask this because I don't want to fuck it up. Yeah.
We can move on to someone else then if you're thinking on it.
Yeah.
Well, I was thinking I'll throw up one little thing. So for future season recaps, we're going to hopefully have a little segment of us reading comments and answering if they are questions. Yeah. If we have any at the time, anyways. That's the plan for a little segment.
Glad you're getting
so
that in
feel
before,
free to comment on
So
all
at the
of our
time of
videos.
this recording, we don't have anything.
Yeah, we haven't uploaded. So.
Well, that's not true. We have an episode out. All right. Yeah, I was gonna say it's actually it was gonna be a broad question, but I think it boils down to something simple. Why do you value lighting equivalently as an equivalent to writing per se, or why do you value? I guess because now I'm curious: is everything in your scale worth the same digit in quotes, or do you value something more than the other? Like I obviously value characters the most when it comes to evaluating a film's writing. So I guess I'm curious is to what is everything equal in your on your objective scale, or is there or is it only minor differences? So.
And this is aimed at me.
Yes.
Okay. Earlier you said you had a question for Sinister.
No, I said I was borrowing a question.
rephrasing,
I'm rephrasing the question he gave me.
Oh, okay.
To then hand over to you because now I kind of want you to flush out your scale a bit.
Okay. I would say they're not even. I would say it's minor. I think the most top being as what I'm listed is cinematography.
Okay.
I think. I mean, I have an example, but I don't know if I should say it, of a movie that really objectively and subjectively for me went down the hill of bad because of a choice that they chose for cinematography. I think everything else is kind of listed as equal because to me, I think it's not just my own personal choice of entertainment and watching, but also kind of just a respect that multiple people went into every branch to create that movie. So if two people wrote it, and it's like, oh, the writing and the parade, it's kind of like, it's the feel for like directors. The directors get all the credit.
Yeah, auteurs.
Yeah, they're like, oh, it's a Steven Spielberg movie, it's a Christopher Nolan movie, Peter, whatever. Rather than, hey, did you know David so and so did was the best boy boom mic for this movie, and it really shows through. No one ever really says that.
Yeah.
Or Gavino Free did slow mo for Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah, I want to like piggyback off that just a little bit because because this is why I posed the question originally to Ryder was just because I always think of films as collaborative efforts, and sure, you have a director who is in charge of everything, but he's not doing the lighting, he's not doing the rigging, he's not doing the set building. He is just kind of overseeing all of it and giving sort of direction to these people, and to try and get it close to his vision. But that's just his vision, and then there's whatever vision the screenwriters had or the scriptwriters had and all that kind of stuff. So I think it, in some ways, I almost feel like it's a little bit subtractive to just focus on the right, or to not in any this isn't
no, I'm not taking offense. It's fine. Yeah.
that just to focus on the writing. But I will agree, writing plays a very, very important part. I think it is important, but I think with everything else that goes into making a film, I do think that it's important to kind of I know you do recognize it, even if you're not rating it in necessarily the same way of it, but that there's a lot of stuff that go into making a movie, and if it was only like the writing part, well, we just read books. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with books, but going to see a film is kind of like getting all these forms of art into one thing, and I think if one of it is kind of singled out, it makes those others seem somewhat unnecessary and lesser by comparison. I know it's not your intention. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with Sinister on this. I mean, I do recognize and know that for film, a screenplay is written or a script is written, and that gets greenlit to become said film. So it starts with that. I understand that. But if it's just the script, just by itself, it's a book. If it's a script being read, it's a audiobook, it's a radio show. If it's a script with dance, it could be like a ballet. I mean, when you encompass everything as much as you can for it, it's the film. And that that's what I'm going into with the rating, is the final product of what's being shown.
Okay.
Well, that kind of brings up something I was going to say about this topic, which is I agree everything is taken into account, which is why I haven't had a 1 or anything, or 2. I mean, I give Jurassic World a 3, I think.
Yeah. 2.5, I believe.
So I definitely view writing as the main thing, because think of student films. They don't have a lighting team or a VFX team.
True.
You can just go outside, film, and if the story's good, the student film is going to be good. The other stuff is sprinkles that helps make it into something big. But you don't need that stuff. That's supplementary. So you have to have writing. You don't necessarily need lighting or VFX. It obviously depends on whatever you're writing for VFX and stuff. But it's supplementary. It's there to enhance the writing, I think. So
yeah, but you wouldn't pay $12 to go see a student film, would you?
It depends on the student film.
I know.
I'm talking
there's
conceptually.
I would never pay. I know.
I mean, entire movies are filmed on iPhones now, and like found footage films are shot that way. It's with like what is it called? With natural lighting, and they don't really use VFX. That's kind of how it is. So.
Well, yeah.
Or can be anyway.
You could make. Yeah, but I mean, you could also argue that that's not necessarily an aesthetical choice as a practical choice, more so than anything.
Yeah.
It enhances it aesthetically because it fits the the message or the story of found footage or whatever.
Like I said,
it's still a choice.
My objective is kind of I understand where you guys are coming from. As I said, as you know, my objective skill is purely in the writing, because I'm here to dock the writers, because all those people, like the lighting team, the sound effects team, all of them could be doing their fucking greatest work, and if the script is shit, their work becomes shit.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I agree that it you have to have like I said, you have to have a good screenplay or a good script, to have at least a decent movie, or just on its own merits, right?
Yeah.
But I think it's like, though, but you still have to recognize that there's people on this project that maybe the script is shit, but they are.
Oh, like I said, I absolutely recognize that their work. Like I said, I love everything about Doctor Strange that isn't the writing.
Yeah.
But
I'd like to point out as well with lighting, there are scenes in movies where it's usually for a character that's like just coming to, but it's pitch black and you just hear things. You just hear like people screaming, or you hear things in the background.
Also, I mean,
that is, in my opinion, that is a choice of lighting, of having no lighting, having absolutely zero light for pitch black,
without
or
the
just a dark screen.
storyboarders, and the lighting just does it. That's other people plan out. The lighting team isn't like, let's make that scene dark. That's already planned. And
I think there are some movies where I'm not disagreeing. I know there's movies where storyboarding comes
Yeah,
first.
you're saying
forth
that
and they follow through.
there are definitely movies where that organically can happen. Like
Yes,
they
I
just
do think
Yeah.
there's
they
movies where the
just
lighting team
they just arrived on
suggests
day
something.
and they found this thing
Yeah.
that happens to look really good this way that reaches the ear of the director, and he decides to go with that because that's what they have
Yeah.
on hand that
And
day.
that could be from lighting. That could also be from editing. From editors going, oh, do you think, what if we just made it black? And then they show the director and they go, oh, I like that more.
Here's an interesting one. In Lawrence of Arabia, right? Old classic film. In the script, or I guess in the screenplay, I'll say it in the screenplay because it has the directions on it. The script wouldn't normally have directions on it, or set directions, right? They have a scene where he's blowing out a match or a candle, I don't remember which, and then written in the screenplay, it's a wipe or a fade to the desert scene. But when they this is an editing, so this is an editor, not I'm talking about lighting or anything like that. The editor instead decides to just to do a cut, so they go instead of a fade or anything, they do a cut instead, but it's written and it works so much better as a cut than as a fade. I know that's a really minute detail.
Well, I
it's
mean,
not really a
that's
written thing.
That's an aesthetic choice, and like I said, that's supplementary there to enhance the writing of the scene. Or
exactly.
So, like I said, I don't knock the work of other people because
I know
I'm here just to knock the writers.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So, Sprinks has a hard cutoff coming up soon before Sinister and I can answer our two questions here. So, Sprinks, do you have any questions for us that throughout the season? I guess.
Not
peaked or anything.
Not necessarily questions. I think you all did a great job. I think you all did fine. Again, from the beginning, I said we had bumps, but we got past those, and I think it just went great. I'm looking forward to the season 2, choices ahead. I don't think I necessarily have any questions. Especially with being season 1 was set of newer films and a show to start off, so it wasn't necessarily full choice. It was group decision of what to do first. I guess my only question to go with the three of you to answer, and I could answer at a later date, is if we could have changed one said thing to something else, what would be the one thing you would have wanted to change?
Top Gun instead of Lightyear.
Top Gun instead of Jurassic World Dominion.
My answer would have been Top Gun instead of Jurassic World Dominion. But
my answer is also Top Gun instead of Jurassic World Dominion.
Okay, well,
to be
rated Jurassic World Dominion lower than Lightyear, and he still wanted to watch something other than Lightyear. Isn't that amazing?
Because I'm a Jurassic fan, so I would have had to have watched it at some point.
You would have, but you wouldn't have had to watch it for
good
this.
to do it here and hear your guys' thoughts on it. That was enjoyable.
Like I said, I think my choice of rather watching Top Gun over Jurassic World Dominion is very narrow. Of all these films, I had the outside of that one, the next on the chopping block would have been Lightyear for me because I suspected I wasn't going to like it, unfortunately, and I obviously went in with an open mind because I wanted it to be good. Because I grew up on Toy Story. I got a lot of love for that movie, so it hurts a little bit.
See, I had the reverse. I thought it was gonna be shit, and then I walked in and it was like, oh, it was decent. It was tolerable. It wasn't awful.
I'd like to, I went in when choosing these films. We didn't necessarily choose ones.
Yeah, what we liked.
What would we like, or what do we think is going to be good? It was what is a well-rounded difference in things to encompass different feels and discussion points. We chose Men because it's kind of more of a artsy horror for more of a discussion points from that. Because if we chose 4 movies all relatively the same, it wouldn't really get our personalities across of different genres and feels for things.
And our and,
So I think
and our
having
vastly
Lightyear as an
different
animation.
and our vastly different preferences as well, which also
Yes.
and how we I guess we intake art
Media.
media.
Yeah.
So I think what we did choose was still very good. As decision
I
of
think
choice.
overall, I think what we ended up was good.
Yeah.
But yes, it sounds like we all want to tackle Top Gun Maverick someday.
I'll
Someday.
definitely watch it. Don't know if it'll be a podcast, but certainly watch it at some point.
I mean, I will drag you.
mean-
I will drag you, Crimson, to watch with me on
Yeah,
one of our movie
Crimson's the
nights.
only one who hasn't seen it, right?
What's another 4 voices praising to like another billion, right? What it's,
Well,
it's not even
Crimson
bothered.
hate it.
No, he's a Tom Cruise hyper fan. He loves Vanilla Sky and freaking
The new Mummy.
other shitty movies that Tom Cruise did that were weird
Crimson's a big
choices.
fan of the Mummy.
Uh,
Anyway,
yeah.
sorry,
Yeah,
I'm at my cutoff.
Hard cut.
Gotta go.
Yeah.
So thank you again. Hopefully the three of you continue off your questions. Too bad I won't be able to, follow up questions. Might be due later.
Don't worry, we
in
won't
the
cut
future.
anything out of you. Yeah.
Thanks. And I guess I'll sign off with, and I'm Sprinks. Toodaloo.
And we'll see you next time, Springs.
All right.
And
We're
then
down
there were
one.
3.
We got to
All
wrap up this rating question. Do you want to go, Sinister, or me?
Yeah, I'll go.
Okay.
I was gonna do a Sprinks one, but I guess now I'll do Crimson.
Okay.
I was
But
surprised.
what was going to be Springs, though? So at least we know what it was.
I can't. Actually, sorry, no, it wasn't gonna be that. But I like my new one better.
Okay.
It was originally gonna be writers on Jurassic World, but no. I'll do Crimson. Yours on Men surprised me because I did not expect you to like it as much as you ended up liking it.
Was this an objective or subjective?
Probably subjective. I don't know. I can't. I'm gonna be honest. My memory of like what we rated these is great, so this was kind of a harder one for me. But I remember you.
I think
I'm just saying in general, you
subjectively-
like this more than I expected you to.
I think
margin.
I think subjective, Crimson, you gave it a 6, and objective, I think you gave it a 7. I could be wrong.
Either way, I was surprised. Yeah.
I thought I gave it a 4 subjective, but a high objective.
Maybe, yeah. I could
Alright,
I could be inverting
subjective
that.
4,
Yeah.
Objective 7. So yes, on that, I think I covered it in Men, but I really liked the whole Harper's little outing to deal with grief and stuff, and it worked very well. I liked the flashbacks and all that stuff. I liked the tunnel, but everything pretty much after the tunnel, I did not really care too much for. Subjectively, objectively, I think they did what they wanted to. I think they achieved what they wanted. I don't know if they wanted us to come out with a message,
Mhm.
because as we talked about, the 4 of us didn't have a definitive.
We all
answer to the
came away with
message.
very different things.
Yeah. So I don't know if they failed on that part or if that's something they were aiming for. I guess we'll never know.
I'd reckon it's probably something that they were aiming for. Just
I feel like there was something they wanted out of it, but
I
I don't
think
know.
I know. I remember like we talked about the director, and I was familiar with his work and his writing, so I think it was intentional.
But yeah, I think with the objective scale, I think everything was done as good as it could be for the most part. That's why I gave it a 7. But yeah, well, does that help with your little point out of the positives, I guess? The surprised reading.
I'm just saying, I don't want to go down a whole rabbit hole with that every single time.
Well, that's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, we covered 2 surprised. I guess Writers was a negative review and Springs was positive. But regardless, you brought up the one I was going to say, Sinister, which was Writers' objective of Jurassic World,
A 2?
which was a 2. Innately is fine, but seeing it with Doctor Strange being lower puts it into question for me. So
All right.
what in Jurassic World was twice as good as
Well,
Doctor
I'm
Strange?
I'm just gonna point to the one thing that is twice as good in Doctor Strange. Jurassic World has better functioning characters.
Like who?
Ian Malcolm.
I don't know.
Like I said, the goal. Okay,
Was
so
Malcolm
here
worth one whole point more.
Well, no,
Into
I'm
himself?
putting Ian Malcolm as just as a throwout. I think the old cast is fine. They weren't ruined. They were just like even in the case of Alan, I don't find him ruined. I found him neutered, which is
Yeah.
serviceable. The Jurassic World characters were at least expanded upon in the barest minimum of ways, going up from the rest of the preceding films. They are in at least a position that's understandable. They have the cabin scene, which functions as character building. They have, yeah, I still stand firm with that. Like I said, in terms of characters alone, I think this film is better.
I
I don't know. Is it characters as an individual or as in how they bounce off each other?
No, it's an individual. All right. I guess how in depth do you want to go with this one? So if give me an individual character, and I will do my best to at least give them their through line, which makes coherent sense. Whereas you can give me someone from Doctor Strange, and I'll point out where it doesn't make sense.
All right. Well, from Jurassic World, how about Sonya?
Sonya, and that would be
apparently a pretty good character.
Yeah, like I said, it's still a 2. So
she's the black market dealer that kidnapped freaking Maisie.
So Iona.
Oh, okay. So she's the character I gave Widow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Through lines for her character that at least gave her something. I guess the only way to make this fair would be find an equivalent from Doctor Strange. Okay. So black market dealer kidnapped Maisie, has her men on the job, or at least people that were outsourced. Okay, so the plot here doesn't make sense. All right, you're bringing up plot problems for me, not character problems.
Well, that even proves more why the 2 then, if you're having trouble thinking of character stuff right now.
Yeah.
I mean, what about her versus Sinister Strange?
Okay.
I think they're about on the same level on screen time, I guess.
On screen time. I think Sinners
impact, I'd say, towards the story, probably.
Yeah. Okay. So Sonya, from what I remember, because I haven't rewatched Jurassic World Dominion, shocker. Yeah. Sonya, from what I remember, is at least plays up a more I want to say intimidation factor, but they're as you said, they're kind of equivalent.
Which is what you wanted.
Which is what I wanted. Gotta think on this one. So
yeah.
Good
question by freaking Crimson.
Yeah.
Man can't even tie his shoelaces. Came up with a good question.
Funny. They're both fairly minor characters. I'd say Sinister Strange has more impact on. I'd say Sinister Strange has more impact on his script than Sonya has on Jurassic Worlds, because she releases the raptors to enable an action sequence, essentially, and she services more as a.
She kidnaps Maisie.
Her men kidnap Maisie, and the reason I was bringing this up, are those men actually hers? Because I thought they got into an argument with her about shipments of raptors or something. So I didn't know if they were a different mercenary group. So she was actually their boss.
Yeah.
So who did she get into an argument with during the deal then?
Well, that was like somebody that was selling to, right? Because they had the
I think
Maisie
so.
deal, which was with Dodgson, but then they had a separate deal for the Raptors, which was with like a paramilitary organization or something.
Okay. Just gotta refresh my
Because that's
mind
not
here.
fucking complicated at all, right? That's like totally, you know.
Yeah, I think Sonya's a fairly pathetic character. She's serviceable in the story as she just serves as a roadblock to the world characters. I don't see her being that. She doesn't really have a lot of depth to her. She's used more of as a tool than an actual character.
When Sinister Strange be as well, where he was just there so Strange could get the book.
Yeah, they didn't have to have Sinister Strange.
Yeah, they
He
could have
could've
had the
just,
book in the sanctum or something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because regardless whether he beat him or not, he got the book. So really, it's not like either way. You don't really have it. You don't lose or gain anything with having him. I mean, in the grand scheme of it, not necessarily character wise, but
yeah. I mean, like I said, I agree with you. They're fairly equivalent characters. I think they have the same amount of impact on one another's story. Of the two, I will admit that Sinister Strange has far more interesting presence, but that's purely because of the magical fight sequence. I think. I do think the potential was wasted with Sinister Strange more because there was more you could do with that avenue than you could with Sonya. So I think I guess what I would find more egregious about Sinister Strange in this case is that there was potential for a lot more, and yet they kind of dropped the ball.
Well, wouldn't that fall more under subjective?
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay. Well, we're talking about your objective rating now.
And I guess objectively, they're roughly equivalent characters on my scale.
All right, this is going a little long, but
I know, like I said, I'm.
What you're saying here.
So, like, I know. Okay, so I know what you're trying to get. I guess get at me for, or get
your goat.
Yeah, get me for, and I don't think Sonya is a good choice for that. I think main characters are probably going to be better choices. I think if you want me to give better comparisons, because I think the main character,
right,
I do think
the villains then.
I do think
Dodson and Wanda.
All right. So Dodson, billionaire corporation, lacks all charisma, and he is functionally a non-character. Well, no, that's not the right phrase. He is the main bad. His plan doesn't make.
Argue that the main bad is the dinosaurs.
His plan doesn't make sense.
Well, the dinosaurs didn't drive the plot. Dodson did. So.
I know. That's what I'm just saying.
So, his plan doesn't make sense. His, I understand the concept of his plan. The execution is shit. I guess that's pretty much was what I would have to say on that. The locust fucking fiasco is something we went in depth with during the actual podcast. Yeah. Good thing about Dodson. I thought he played tech genius guy okay. He played the archetype fine. Wanda was more character assassination, which is more egregious in terms of writing. At least on my objective scale anyway. So Wanda is evil because she found an evil book. And otherwise I have to justify she made all her choices as herself, which just makes it worse. So,
well, you could say she was unhinged, and then she found this evil book, which then pushed her over the edge. So she was already. Yeah, she was
already like leaning evil crazy because of what happened in WandaVision, and they just went
the book.
Yeah,
so
yeah. Like I said, the character assassination just kind of steamrolled for Wanda. So whereas Dodson is a lame villain, Wanda was a villain, was a hero that was character assassinated into being a villain. And this part, I guess that specific aspect leans into my continuity interview for the writing, and which is what the writers have to carry over and can functionally fix or do something with, and they just chose to make it worse. Or I don't think they chose to make it worse, but they made it worse. So,
What about? I mean, Dodson was also a legacy character who had lore. He was in the first movie.
He was not.
Dodson,
like a tech
Dodson,
billionaire.
everybody, isn't that his only scene in that movie?
Yeah, but that.
He was just some henchman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now he's a tech billionaire. Isn't that
the
change to his character?
Yeah, but the benefit of that one is 50 years have passed, or whatever amount of time has passed.
Well, using my ammunition against me.
Yeah, like see, that's the benefit of that is that time has passed, and
you could argue though that like the archetype they went with was not probably the correct.
I would agree that the archetype is probably not the best choice to go with Dodson, but I do think there is a lot of time there where you could believably come to a conclusion that this character changed. If he was a henchman, you say, for that corporation, that like if in the original Jurassic Park he was a henchman for Biosin, he could have just worked his way up the ranks all the time. Like he could have earned the trust of CSC. Like there is a through line for that to work in the course of time. Whereas Wanda's character assassination is more sequential. Like the time that is in between films and her show isn't really and from the show, I guess back to Endgame when she was brought back, wasn't enough to justify an off-screen turning evil, if that makes sense. Whereas Dodson, there is a potential through line. They don't show it, but you can give credit to where there's nothing that's been done.
I mean, in WandaVision, you agree she has the traits of a bad guy, right?
Absolutely.
So isn't that laying seeds for her easily turning through, in this case, the book? It wasn't just out of nowhere. There was seeds there.
Well, see, then I guess so if we're going to justify the book changing her character,
enhancing it, if there already had seeds. Yeah. It's not like she was good and then bad. She had bad tendencies and then went bad because of the book.
Got a point.
Yeah, he does. So your argument is that there's a through line for her into this film.
You're saying it went from 0 to 100. I'm saying there was something there that they placed. It wasn't 0 to 100.
Sorry. Yes. I agree that there's something there. I still think Wanda pendulum swings. And if it's not turning evil, then it's suddenly turning good.
That one I have less to debate about. Yeah, other than just the book going away, because she wasn't, like I said, wholly bad. She just had bad tendencies. Yeah. I'll give you the good part. The bad, I won't, but her switching to good at the end, I'll hand that to you.
Fair enough. So, I guess, because, like, if I'm going to encompass Wanda's journey, I think it was, because you're right about the bad part, there's a level of where I'm eventually going to have to accept that this is the choice that they decided to make with this character. And there are seeds in WandaVision that could lead her to being, like, straight up evil here. I guess the issue I take is the 100% evil. Because, yes, there are seeds in WandaVision, but when we first meet her in this movie, she's already 100% evil witch. I'm coming for the girl and don't get in my way. And unless that is the product of the book, which I guess, which is where the book comes in.
Do we ever figure out like a timeline between the ending of WandaVision and that would maybe make it a little bit more reasonable or?
The problem is I functionally don't think it's more than a month. But I think hold on.
I'll do a quick search.
Yeah. No. You're the host. I'll do the quick search. I'll let you know.
Okay. I guess if you want to extrapolate even further, I mean, even in Ultron, she was a bad guy for most of that movie.
Yeah, she does have. I mean,
but in that movie, she was being manipulated.
Being bad, yeah. Because she doesn't. She's like part of the. Not.
I mean, even a good guy manipulated to do bad things. Wouldn't you still classify them as bad?
Anti-hero.
If they're being manipulated, there's a level of innocence that could be attributed to them because she was blinded by her hatred of Tony Stark and didn't realize that Ultron was going to destroy the world with her on it.
Well, it's just further proof that she's able to do bad things and willing to. So, and that's at her introduction. So I'd say that's even another seat potentially that they could claim.
It is very, very strange.
I like this talk. We missed out on this in Doctor Strange, apparently.
Well, there's a lot more in that movie than just Scarlet Witch.
Well, yeah.
Even though it is, I mean, yeah, I'm just saying, there's a lot more going on there than just like
the first thing
this is us trying to narrow down writers' opinion between Jurassic World.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, I welcome it. The first thing I've seen, it's on Quora, so it's probably I wouldn't take this.
Yeah, it's not canon. But,
it says a year and a half has passed between we
could go off of
WandaVision and let's see, Spider-Man Multiverse Madness is supposed to take place at the start of 2025. So I guess that would be. I'm gonna put that as the max. Let's see. How Doctor Strange were pretty much time passed since WandaVision.
A year and a half. That's
reasonable.
If we go by that, that's pretty good.
Yeah. Someone says another site says 2 years, which is better. I'll give it that. But that then damages Doctor Strange more.
Well, the timeline's kind of fucked up here because technically this was supposed to come out first, and then we had, Black Widow and Spider-Man coming out first. So it's
we have to deal with what we got.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just saying,
if it's 2 years, I think this deals more damage to Doctor Strange than it does Wanda.
I mean, I would agree.
So
I think,
then again, that's moving. That's just moving on to different characters. So
I mean, with a few exceptions, and we talked about that.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to rehash that, but I thought she was definitely. I found her better as a villain than I found Doctor Strange being a hero in that movie. If that
I
flows.
can agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can agree with that as well.
So on the Dotson comparison, now that we've
that's what we were talking about. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
As two bad guys, which one's worse? I feel like we've
Dotson
buffed up Wanda here with the whole timeline and the seed talk. Is Wanda a better villain?
I mean, that's just like okay.
No, because Wanda still pendulum swings.
Yeah, but like Dodson, okay, I know they set him up to be like this awkward, charisma-less, billionaire tech giant guy or whatever. But like
I agree, he's devoid of charisma. I agree, he's not interesting. I agree with.
In terms of character, though, don't you want an interesting character? Isn't that a whole point of character? Do you think they failed at writing because the character's just that boring?
Their problems are fundamentally different. So I think Wanda is inconsistent. I think Dotson is fairly consistent. I think Wanda would be... Functionally, she's more interesting villain. I do think Dotson motives... Well, both their motives are absolute shit. So...
And I can understand Wanda's at least.
Yeah, I can. Like, it might not be executed well, but I understand the motivation. With Dotson, it's just like, oh, I fucked up. at least an experiment went wrong. Now I gotta make sure that, like, I kill this girl so that I can, save my ass or whatever. Like, that's just kind of lazy. And it's, for such a small little thing, it's not really set up very well. Because you really have no fucking idea what's going on. I just think, like, it's not like, I understand, like, his archetype and what they're going for, but I don't know if it serves the story well for it. It's like, I kind of think anybody else would have been a better villain than this guy.
Yeah, like, even if Wanda's motivation isn't that good, it's better, I think. Because it's understandable.
Okay. So, I guess, would it be execution then? Do you think it matters more?
Yeah, because, okay.
In terms of writing a character that's a villain, you gotta understand their motivation. That's a key thing. To a hero and a
No,
villain.
you do not.
For a good villain, I think
No,
they need
you definitely
some
don't.
motivation.
Your villain could
Not
be
saying
a.
they have to have it, but I'm saying that is
your villain could-
definitely
Okay.
Your
a
villain
priority.
does not.
Okay, I'll give you one. I'll give
I'm not talking
Ryder.
about like a crazy villain either. It's just
I'll
whatever.
give Ryder like a, I'll give him one on this because I love the movie Seven, right? Movie Seven, David Fincher, Brad Pitt, Morgan Freeman, classic. I don't understand the motivation behind John Doe, and that's because you're not supposed to. Because he's fucking.
That's like I
know.
said, crazy characters
I know.
kind of disqualified in that.
Yeah, but he's still a good. It's iconic.
This
what
is.
I'm
I
saying.
mean,
Dotson's not crazy.
I know. I'm giving.
you do not need to flush out your villains to have a better hero.
I didn't say that.
Yeah, no, that's what we're
I said
saying.
to have a
was
better
like,
villain.
yeah, because technically, under Dodson is a bad villain because you're never really afraid of him. You're never really like intimidated by him. There's really nothing. He doesn't really, and his motivation really isn't like scary or any. It's just kind of like, it's it's kind of boring or bland or it's just not like. And if you have a movie with freaking dinosaurs in it that'll eat you, you kind of need to have the guy who's orchestrating it all be somewhat intimidating, and he's not. He's awkward. He's weird. He's not really scary. You never really feel like he's in control of any scene. Like that just doesn't feel like a villain to me. Like at no point in the movie did I feel like this guy is in full control of this situation that's unfolding.
So,
And
I guess my follow-up question to this would be: Is Dotson still a villain, or is Dotson an antagonist?
He
like I
was
said
against our crew.
yeah,
so
But
I'd
does that
say-
make him a villain, or does that make him an antagonist?
That depends on your definition, I suppose.
yeah.
Because Wanda, okay, so antagonist for me as a writer means a character that isn't necessarily a villain because they're not 100% against the heroes, but they are on a side that happens to be against the heroes. If that makes sense. Whereas Wanda
he is the side, though. He's not just on the side. He made the side, right?
I see his goals but his goal is not to end the hero. His goal is in monetary value.
Essentially, though, because
His goal is
he actually goes up to, he kills them basically because he lets them loose in like a freaking dinosaur enclosure. Like that's not going to be like, oh well, they're going to get out okay if he shuts off all the exits and everything.
Yeah, fuck the ADS system.
Yeah. But
I didn't even think about that yet, but he did directly try to kill them by turning that off. So he wasn't just passively there, and his actions directly opposed our hero. That they actually tried to kill them. And I don't know if that answers your villain question. I'd say I think he barely passes, but nonetheless passes as a villain.
Yeah, I think I felt Dots was more the antagonist side most of the time, just because most of his scenes outside of the one, he's mostly dealing with the business aspect of his corporation rather than, putting down the heroes necessarily to try and he's not actively trying to stop them from succeeding until he figures out what they're doing. Which,
I mean, Wanda's mission isn't just to kill Doctor Strange the whole time; it's to get her kids back.
yes,
He just happens
to be an obstacle,
be
and
an obstacle,
she also
which is-
happens to absolutely murder every obstacle in her way.
So, wouldn't that fit your definition of an antagonist? Because they're not directly focused on the hero.
Oh fuck! I gotta pull up my definitions again. Yeah, like it's like I said, I'm there. I know there's a difference. I'm like even while I'm talking to you guys, I'm trying to remember what that difference is because Dotson comes across as more antagonist to me and Wanda villainous, but it might purely just
The goal isn't to kill people. So.
it might purely be that Dotson is just, like I said, is very, very bland as a character, which is why he comes across as an antagonist, which is why I'm confusing the two.
Which is why I said they failed writing him.
If I'm remembering the definition of villain correctly, I would agree that he's probably worse off than Wanda. If, like I said, if I find the definition of antagonist to be better suited to him, I would probably find that.
That's an interesting thing.
Yeah.
So I'm looking that up as well. Do you think that the evil queen in Snow White is an antagonist or a villain?
Fuck, I haven't seen that in so long. I guess that would depend on the interpretation of.
She went in to kill Snow White, right?
Yeah.
It depends on the movie because the movies have tell different stories.
Yeah.
If we're going with
guess.
like the original fairy tale, I'm gonna lean towards villain.
See, because I just the site I'm on, it said that she was a antagonist, and I was like, I don't think so. I think she's actually a villain. I think.
I guess that one. I guess that one's a TBD. I'm gonna table that one for TBD. I'm leaning towards Wanda being better as a villain, though. If that's the answer you're looking for.
Yeah. Well, I was just curious because I was just like, I think that one's a villain, but maybe I'm wrong.
Man, we could go on this longer, but
that's
so far with this
table that
question
for
we've
later.
established, at least in the comparison of Sonya versus freaking what's his face Strange.
We've established that Watson's better. We've established that Wanda's better than Dotson, and Sinister Strange and Sonya are relatively equal in terms of their relevance to the character's story. But I do aesthetically like Sinister Strange more. So.
That's subjective.
Yeah.
Does this waiver either of your scores?
I know you're not gonna. Are you trying to get me to lower this score to a
I'm
1?
I'm just trying to get your headspace on what we just talked about. Because we talked about a lot of stuff we didn't cover before.
So
since we're comparing,
I guess my headspace is I really haven't had the time to go on an individual case by case basis for the character work. I'm gonna put the word feel here because I haven't seen it in a while, so I'm not gonna. While I still stand by my rating as a 2 for Jurassic World Dominion, as I said, it's subject to change if I rewatch it and then go through a character by character comparison. I do feel that the protagonists of Jurassic World are far better written than the protagonists in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. And that matters because we spend a majority of the time with them. So I guess that's my headspace as of right now. Like I said, it's subject to change if I ever come back to that and actually break it down to such an in-depth degree. But I think that's the main pillar, I suppose, of what's keeping Jurassic World Dominion above a 1.
Okay.
Well, I guess we'll just have to agree to disagree on that one.
Yeah.
It was an insightful conversation. All right. Well, I guess the last thing before closing off this video is if either of you have either questions or observations from the season that haven't been brought up.
I have a clarification, I think.
Sure. Yeah.
So, we went into a long tirade about stormtroopers being incompetent for the Empire, and them getting clapped by the Ewoks.
Yeah.
I think I want to clarify something. I don't necessarily think that the Empire that fought the Ewoks is extremely competent, but the Empire in its incompetence in the original trilogy still outpaces what we see of them today. Because the fact that they're still killing Ewoks means that they were treated like Alan in Jurassic World Dominion. They're neutered as fuck, but they weren't character assassinated as a faction.
I need to see some of this newer stuff to recall them.
I will also, I guess, give you that when I recall the original trilogy, I remember more of the main characters' interactions
rather than the actual faction being
Yes. So that might also be a part of it. But.
Yeah, no. Like I said, I think it's just a clarification because I don't want people to think I think the Ewoks is necessarily extremely well written, but I do want to point out that I still think the Empire is more functional even at its worst than the original trilogy.
All right.
That's pretty
out there.
Yeah.
Also, I guess this isn't a question, but I have to put it out there. And I got some feedback from some people. I do not hate Crimson. Don't ever read it like that. We're just joking around. It's all okay.
All fun and games.
Yeah. We're all friends.
Yeah, we're all friends. Friends love each other.
Yes, true.
Gotta edit. Sprinks, one of us has to edit a waffle on screen.
Yeah, please. Yeah, somebody get that in there. But yeah, just so everybody knows.
I guess final question. What was the most? I guess for me, what was your favorite moment that we've had on the podcast so far? For both of you. Whether it was a discussion, whether it was a discussion that you were just listening in, or was a discussion you were directly involved in.
I pretty much like all of the super long discussions, or whether it's Doctor Strange and
maybe we should have a
made up conversation that wasn't there that would help with building character.
Yeah.
Or if it was like Obi-Wan, we talked about the stormtroopers and all that stuff. Pretty much just that. I don't think there's one particular that pops out. I just like the longer discussion stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe we should have a second podcast where we just do that.
Nah, that'd be hard to orchestrate.
That would.
It has to be natural.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess Sinister. How about you?
Probably if I had to. I don't know if I could pick one specifically, but I guess broadly, the whole Men review episode was probably my overall favorite.
It was a lot of abstract talking for Men, wasn't it? Because we weren't really talking in terms of the script necessarily. We covered that. We can cover that pretty quickly, but the main takeaway from that was mostly symbolic, which is where we broke off into philosophical discussions.
Yeah. What does that pillar mean?
Yeah. But yeah,
I never know.
Yeah, I guess mine would probably. I'm agreeing with both of you. That's because the Men podcast pretty much encompassed all of what you were talking about to me, Crimson, which is it was just lots of offshooting where we talked about theoretical stuff, things that broke out into long discussions, and we got I liked my back and forth with Sinister over philosophy in both the Star Wars episode and the beginning in episode 0 as well. So those to me are what I like the most so far.
Yes, I also liked our art talk and sessions here.
Yeah. Even though you didn't answer any of the questions that you posed upon everybody else.
Well, most of my questions were clarification questions from their definitions.
But still. It's way easier to be the man in the high tower than to be the subject down below.
Well, ask me questions next time.
Okay.
Remember, we like each other here.
Yeah. Don't take us at face value.
Yes. All right. Well, I guess that's the end of the season 1. I guess as a whole, technically.
Yeah.
This is the end of it.
We'll
Goodbye? Question mark.
goodbye? Question mark. We'll definitely see you again.
Yes.
We should have socials up now, shouldn't we?
Yeah, we should have.
Hopefully.
Yeah. So
It should
Yeah,
definitely be
up
in
on
the
the-
description.
yeah, they'll be in the description, but we'll be on all the major places like Twitter, and we'll be on a few of the podcasting sites. Though
Yeah.
we're having some technical difficulties, but we should be there.
Oh, Yeah, we'll,
By the time this comes out,
this
hopefully
comes
it's
out-
figured out.
by the time this comes out, we'll be rich. We'll have settled all this and have Emmys. I don't even know why they give an Emmy to a podcast, but we'll have one. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, we'll get a streamy or something. I don't know.
And have several controversies happen that have nothing to do with what we're talking about.
Oh, of course.
I gotta wait for one of those.
Yeah.
All right.
Marriage
Well,
lawsuits. All that
I guess until next time, I have been a geeky writer.
I've been Crimson Maroon.
I've been the character called Sinister Boy.
And there was a Sprinks.
There
But,
was a Sprinks.
There was a Sprinks.
And yeah,